The objective of the labor inspection is to further strengthen the implementation of the visitorial and enforcement powers under the Labor Code as renumbered, towards securing a higher level of compliance with labor laws and standards and ensuring continuity and sustainability of compliance at workplaces. For this purpose, the Department of Labor and Employment delegates this function to the regional offices with the the DOLA developed an inspection management information system. An important feature of the system is data capture and transmittal from the field in real time, as an electronic checklist is filled up through the use of mobile devices and gadgets. Data are instantly available for viewing and processing to generate all private establishments, including their branches and workplaces in the regions. The regional offices, through the labor inspectors, enforce labor laws and social legislation through the conduct of routine inspection, complaint inspection, and occupational safety and health investigation. Upon the discretion of the Secretary, special inspections may be conducted as may be deemed necessary. With the provision for mobile devices and gadgets, the DOLE developed an inspection management information system. An important feature of the system is data capture and transmittal from the field in real time, as an electronic checklist is filled up through the use of mobile devices and gadgets. Data are instantly available for viewing and processing to generate reports, statistics, and summons, including real-time monitoring of decent work indicators based on the country's decent work profile. The TAV, or Technical and Advisory Visit, aims to provide assistance to the micro-establishments, or establishments that have 1 to 9 employees, to be sustainable, productive, and competitive. It also aims to transition our micro-establishments to the formal economy that is profitable, while also complying with our labor laws and occupational safety and health standards. There are different ways or modalities to avail TAV. First is the online method. Establishments can enroll in the self-paced technical and advisory modules through our learning management system. For establishments that opted to go with online, they must accomplish the modules within 1 month from the time they registered. Second is on-site. The DOLE regional, field, and provincial offices conduct on-site or face-to-face orientation for the technical and advisory services, wherein micro-establishments are invited to attend. Third is hybrid setup. Establishments can enroll in on-site sessions and attend virtual meetings or webinars using various online platforms like MS Teams, Viber, Skype, Zoom, or Google Meet. The establishment report system was created to streamline the documents and reports required from establishments in the private sector. Several administrative requirements will be submitted through this site as a central platform. Through this system, employers no longer need to physically submit establishment reports to DOLE, since reportorial requirements can be completed remotely through the ERS. There are various types of report that can be submitted through the establishment report system. These are telecommuting report, job displacement report, flexible work, 13th month report, and employer's work accident or illness report. The establishment report system ensured the safety of employees of DOLE and its clients by minimizing the risk of contracting the COVID-19, since the need for physical contact has been removed in this process. The objective of the labor inspection is to further strengthen the implementation of the visitorial and enforcement powers under the Labor Code as renumbered towards securing a higher level of compliance with labor laws and standards and ensuring continuity and sustainability of compliance at workplaces. For this purpose, the Department of Labor and Employment delegates this function to the regional offices with the issuance of a list of labor inspectors who are given the authority of conduct inspection, which covers all private establishments, including their branches and workplaces in the regions. The regional offices, through the labor inspectors, enforce labor laws and social legislation through the conduct of routine inspection, complaint inspection, and occupational safety and health investigation. Upon the discretion of the Secretary, special inspections may be conducted as may be deemed necessary. With the provision for mobile devices and gadgets, the DOLE developed an inspection management information system. An important feature of the system is data capture and transmittal from the field in real time, as an electronic checklist is filled up through the use of mobile devices and gadgets. Data are instantly available for viewing and processing to generate reports, statistics, and summaries, including real-time monitoring of decent work indicators based on the country's decent work profile. The TAV, or Technical and Advisory Visit, aims to provide assistance to the micro-establishments, or establishments that have 1 to 9 employees, to be sustainable, productive, and competitive. It also aims to transition our micro-establishments to the formal economy that is profitable, while also complying with our labor laws and occupational safety and health standards. There are different ways or modalities to avail TAV. First is the online method. Establishments can enroll in the self-paced technical and advisory modules through our learning management system. For establishments that opted to go with online, they must accomplish the modules within 1 month from the time they registered. Second is on-site. The DOLE regional, field, and provincial offices conduct on-site or face-to-face orientation for the technical and advisory services, wherein micro-establishments are invited to attend. Third is hybrid setup. Establishments can enroll in on-site sessions and attend virtual meetings or webinars using various online platforms like MS Teams, Viber, Skype, Zoom, or Google Meet. The establishment report system was created to streamline the documents and reports required from establishments in the private sector. Several administrative requirements will be submitted through this site as a central platform. Through this system, employers no longer need to physically submit establishment reports to DOLE, since reportorial requirements can be completed remotely through the ERS. There are various types of report that can be submitted through the establishment report system. These are telecommuting report, job displacement report, flexible work, 13th month report, and employer's work accident or illness report. The establishment report system ensured the safety of employees of DOLE and its clients by minimizing the risk of contracting the COVID-19, since the need for physical contact has been removed in this process.
Good afternoon to our partners on safety and health. Welcome to our webinar Wednesdays. Today, we will be discussing an interesting topic, which is the drug-free workplace. But before we proceed, as always, it's better to start our program with a prayer.
Let us put ourselves in the holy presence of God. Father in heaven, always merciful and giver of life, we humbly ask that you bless each one of us, from the speakers, program committees, and participants. Lord, today, as we start our webinar, may we always be grateful to learn new things. May we retain the invaluable knowledge and learning experiences that we derive from this webinar. Shed the light of your wisdom and bless each one, especially our speakers, as they will share their knowledge to our participants. We pray that you bless all the committees in charge, that they fulfill their tasks responsibly, that the objectives they may set may all be achieved. May we ask for your blessing and divine providence that the webinar set for his undertaking be successful and effective. Thank you for the infinite blessings and countless opportunities. Through your mercy and grace, may peace and utmost understanding shine and dwell unto us. Your generous blessings would mean the success of this webinar. We know that without it, we can do nothing. May we be the living witnesses of your genuine love through the implementation of the knowledge applied through this webinar. This we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Okay, again, we would like to acknowledge our participants this afternoon's webinar. Okay, so nakikita ko po may mga familiar names, no? So mga repeat natin to, no? Audience, and welcome po sa inyo po. Okay, so before we proceed, allow me to discuss briefly why we chose this topic, no? Itong drug-free workplace. Sa amin po kasi dito sa Bureau, isa po ito sa mga mga maraming kaming nare-receive ng mga inquiries. Okay, so number 1, to help employers provide a safe workplace, discourage the drug substance use disorders, and encourage the treatment and return of workers who have suffered from drug abuse. Ayan. So ano yan, ano? So holistic, no? May prevention, may referral, at of course yung reintegration. Then number 2, a drug-free workplace will help reduce accidents, lowering employee liability, decrease customer-related accidents, and risk, and prevent any damage to your company's reputation. Ayan. So, syempre, yung pangalan ng kumpanya, yung imahe ng kumpanya, madudungisan yan kapag meron tayong mga drug-related na ng mga pangyayari, no? So yung iba na dadawit lang yung kanilang mga workplaces. So maganda po, no, na meron tayong prevention sa ganoon. At ikatlo, having the structure and resources, the workplace is an ideal site to implement the drug-free workplace program strategy. Ayan. So to continue, allow me to introduce our esteemed resource person who will discuss the topic on drug-free workplace. Ayan. So siguro wala na po akong makilalang tao na mas humble pa dito sa ating speaker. Okay, pinasulat ko siya ng kanyang CV at napakaikli ng kanyang ginawa, no? So basahin ko na lang po ito. Okay? So siya po ay from the ranks po na nagsimula dito sa DOLE, no? 27 years po siya in service. Ayan, so more or less alam natin kung anong edad niya ngayon. Ayan, pero sabi nga, no, age comes with wisdom naman. So okay na po 'yon. Okay, nagsimula po siya sa amin, no, sa DOLE as clerk 3 sa HRDS hanggang sa naging Labor and Employment Officer 3 po siya ngayon sa Bureau of Working Conditions. Siya po ay naging miyembro din, member of various technical working group in drafting a number of DOL-issued policies. Ayan. Currently, he is the Bureau's focal in its drug-free workplace program. So without much further ado, allow me to introduce to you Mr. Arnel de Mesa, RN. Okay, we will discuss the drug-free workplace policy strategy.
Ayan, maraming salamat, Doc Mark, sa nakakatabang pusong introduction mo sa akin, ano? So, nagpapasalamat ako sa mga sumusubaybay dito sa aming Webinar Wednesday at yung mga regular na sumusubaybay at saka yung bago pa lang na sumusubaybay dito sa aming webinar. So, nagagalak ko na ako'y maging makaisa ninyo para ma-share sa inyo ang topic na drug-free workplace under the Department Order 53-03. Okay. So next, objective natin para sa drug-free workplace. State the legal basis, purpose, and coverage of the drug-free workplace program. Articulate the responsibilities of management and workers in maintaining a drug-free workplace environment. Learn the basics of drafting workplace policies and programs. Advocate for policy and practice improvements to enhance the workplace's safety and health with the goal of improving workers' safety. So, yun nga, no? Ng topic natin yun, Department Order 53-03 or otherwise known as the Guidelines for the Implementation of Drug-Free Workplace Policy and Programs for the Private Sector. Marami sa inyo ang nagtatanong din, siguro, ito po ay nabuo alinsunod sa Article 5 of Republic Act number 9165. Otherwise known as the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002. Next. So ano po ba ang legal basis nitong drug-free workplace? So yung Article 5 of RA 9165 as mentioned, otherwise known, ito po yung promotion of a national drug-free workplace program with the participation of private and labor sectors and the DOLE. So yun nga, nabuo po ito dahil naramdaman ng gobyerno ang pagtaas ng insidente ng problema sa paggamit at pag-abuso ng droga sa ating bansa. Kaya minabuti ng gobyerno na bumuo o gumawa ng batas na makakasagot sa lumalalang problema na to. Okay, next. Ito naman tayo sa coverage. Ano ba ang coverage ng drug-free workplace? All establishments in the private sector employing 10 workers and above, including their contractors and concessionaires. So sabi po dito, all establishments. Dahil po kasi ang workplace is an ideal site to implement a health program. Bakit po? Kasi may captured participants na kagad. By hook or by crook, talagang involved sila. Hindi katulad ng community na transient. They come and go. Also, andun yung Safety and Health Committee or yung ibang mga similar committees na pwedeng mag-implement ng drug-free workplace policy. Kasi may implementing structure na sila at may resources na din. Bukod dyan, syempre may budget yung committee. Yun ang reason kaya lahat ng health programs ay may counterpart sa workplace. Like sa community, sa school, etc. No? Kaya nga, sabi natin the workplace is an ideal place to implement occupational health programs because of its structure and resources. So next. Bago natin makalimutan nga pala, yung mga establishments then with less than 10 workers are encouraged to formulate a drug-free policy. So hindi rin sila iniiwan ng batas ng gobyerno So, ini-encourage sila na gumawa rin sila at mag-formulate ng drug-free policy. So, ano ba yung minimum requirement dito? Sabi rito, drug-free workplace policy and programs. Yan. So, borrowing from a saying, sabi, having a policy is one, implementing it is another. So, what does this mean? Maring may policy ka nga, pero compliance lang for inspection papers. Ibig sabihin, kung halimbawa ay in-inspect ka ng aming mga inspektor, napuntahan ka, at tinanong sa'yo kung meron kang drug-free workplace policy. Ang sabi mo, meron. Pero nagkaroon ng random interview sa iyong mga workers at ang sagot nila ay negative. So, ang mangyayari niyan, magiging non-compliant ka kasi meron pa ang policy pero hindi naman yun gumugulong at gumagana. So, ibig sabihin, hindi mahalaga ang policy kung walang program. Dahil ang program ay yun siya ang policy in action. So yan ha, mahalaga yung drug-free workplace policy and program. Okay, next. Ano pa ba yung minimum requirement under criteria of policy? Dapat ito jointly prepared by management and labor representatives and made an integral part of OSH and other related workplaces programs. Yan. Pwede rin isama ito sa CBA in organized establishments. Assistance in the formulation and implementation of drug-free workplace policies and programs may be sought from the tripartite task force through the Occupational Safety and Health Center. Regional offices of the DOLE shall serve as a focal center in the respective areas of jurisdiction. So, ibig sabihin, kung ang kumpanya ay gustong mag-request ng lecture on drug-free workplace, pwede sila makipag-ugnayan sa DOLE Regional Office na malapit sa kanila. Yan. Next slide. Ano po ba minimum requirement under components of drug-free workplace program? Sabi rito, advocacy, education and training, drug testing program for officers and employees, referral for counseling, treatment, and rehabilitation. Siyempre, hindi gagana or hindi magpo-progress ang workplace program kung walang monitoring and evaluation. So next. Ano po ba yung under ng advocacy, education, and training para sa mga employers? So, disseminating the policy and programs to employees and educating employees' families. So, employers shall be responsible for increasing awareness and education of their officers and employees on the adverse effects of dangerous drugs through orientation, education, training, and info sharing. Dapat siguraduhin din ng employer na yung workplace policy and programs on the prevention and control of dangerous drugs, kasama na ang drug screening and testing, ay pinapaalam sa mga opisyal at manggagawa ng kumpanya. Number 2, enjoin to display billboards or streamers with drug-free message. So dito, in-encourage natin ang mga employers na i-display sa billboards or streamers ang sa mga pansining lugar sa kanilang workplace, katulad ng "This is a drug-free workplace, panatilihin natin ito." Siyempre, maganda, di ba, pagka yung nakikita ng mga workers at nalalaman nila na, oy, meron pala tayong programa tungkol sa drug-free, no? Magkakaroon sila ng malasakit. At the same time, magkakaroon ng ownership dun sa programa. So, number 3, observance of confidentiality. Company shall maintain the confidentiality of all information relating to drug tests or to the identification of drug users in the workplace. Exceptions may be made only if required by law in case of prevailing public health, safety concerns, or where such exceptions have been authorized in writing by the person concerned. Ang sabi rito, yung exception, isa sa mga exceptions, if required by law. So, halimbawa, merong mga kaso sa court of law, kinailangan na i-divulge yung identity or yung result ng drug test. So yan yung isa sa mga incidents or cases na pwede nating i-release yung result ng drug test. Pwede naman in case of prevailing public health and safety concerns. Yan, halimbawa ay gagawa ng policy ang isang ahensya, policy on drug-free, pwede nating ibigay o i-release yung information para makagawa ng datos or makagawa ng policy regarding drug-free policy, no? So, number 3, where such exceptions have been authorized in writing by the person concerned. So, sabihin, winave ng person yung kanyang right para ma-release yung result ng kanyang drug test. So, pwede yun, ano? Okay. So, observance of confidentiality, kailangan yan, laging may observance of confidentiality. So, hindi yan dapat, yung information, hindi dapat basta kakalat or malalaman ng iba. So, next. Under advocacy, education, and training, again, for employees. Responsible for education and training of their co-workers. Lalong effective po ito sa mga unionized establishments, workers, organization, and associations. Dahil mas kilala nila ang kanilang kasama at hanay sa paggawa, kaya nararapat lamang na magkaroon ng active role sa edukasyon at training ng kanilang mga miyembrong manggagawa sa usapang drug abuse prevention and control. Number 2, cooperating with management for the success of drug-free programs. Partisipasyon ng mga manggagawa sa joint continuing programs and information campaigns, peer counseling, and values education na may layunin na ipalaganap at isulong ang positive lifestyle and a drug-free workplace. So, ibig sabihin lang po nito, hindi gugulong ang programa kung walang suporta sa mga manggagawa. Okay, so next. Drug testing program, no? Sabi rito, mandatory that random drug testing be conducted on all officers and employees. So bakit sinasabi nilang random? Bakit kailangan random? Yan. So kailangan kasi po ay mayroong element of surprise para po sa mga empleyadong ida-drug test. Kung alam kasi ng person or ng worker who uses drugs, ang schedule niya for drug testing, maaari niyang i-manipulate ang result at hindi muna siya gagamit ng droga ilang araw bago ang kanyang scheduled drug test. Sa ganitong paraan, malaki ang chance na maging negative ang resulta ng kanyang drug test. Sa lahat ng pagkakataon, dapat ay inform ang concerned employee sa magiging resulta ng kanyang drug test. Magiging ito man ay positive or negative. At ito pang mahalaga, hindi dapat isinasabay sa annual physical exam ang drug testing. So bakit? Bakit hindi dapat? Kasi alam natin yung annual physical exam ay scheduled yan. At the same time, pag scheduled kasi, mawawala yung element of surprise. At the same time nga, in most annual physical exam, kinakailangan yan ay may fasting. So, pag halimbawa, nag-fasting ang person who uses drugs or PWOD, maaaring maging negative ang resulta ng kanyang examination. Okay? Assessment team evaluates results and determines the applicable level of care and administrative interventions that can be extended. So yan tungkol sa assessment team, the company's trained assessment team ang magdedetermine naman kung anong level of treatment ang pwedeng ibigay sa empleyadong nag-positive sa drug testing. Sa inyong kaalaman, meron din po kasing levels ang drug addiction. Yung low risk, moderate risk, at high risk. Para sa low at moderate risk, sila po yung mga pwede nating sabihin na occasional user or experimenter. Sa heavy user naman, sila yung nakakaranas ng mga withdrawal symptoms na since deeply immersed na sila sa paggamit ng droga. Kung identified low or medium risk ang isang person who uses drugs, pwede po silang i-refer sa isang community-based drug rehab facility. At kung heavy user naman, maaari siyang bigyan ng referral for treatment o rehabilitation sa anumang DOH accredited rehab centers. Yan. Para naman sa mga applicants, sa company na tumatanggap ng applicants, ang drug testing ay mandatory or optional. Depende yan sa company policy nila. Okay, next. So ano po ba yung mga issues that arises during drug testing? Medyo ito po ay yung topic na to medyo maano to. Kadalasan dito ho yung nagkakainitan kasi human rights. So bakit nga naman human rights? Drug testing lang. Maaaring may magsasabi kasi na violation ito ng privacy of an individual. Ay iwasan lang ang ganitong issue kung ang company ay may malinaw na drug-free workplace policy. At ito ay maayos na na-inform o naipahayag sa lahat ng mga empleyado ng kumpanya. Also, anumang company policy, ordinance, orders na hindi in consonance o hango sa batas na Republic Act 9165, ito ay kinakailangan na baguhin. At ayon din po sa desisyon na inilabas ng Supreme Court, ang karapatan at kaligtasan ng isang individual ay natatapos kapag lumabag siya sa karapatan at kaligtasan ng higit na nakararami. So, ibig sabihin, yung human rights ng isang tao ay hindi pwedeng madaig pa ang human rights ng nakakarami. Yan, kaya sinasabi natin na yung karapatang yun ay dapat may undergo sila ng drug testing. Hindi sila kinakailangan na or hindi silang pwede silang makatanggi doon sa drug testing na naka-schedule sa kanila. So valid exercise of management prerogative. Ang mga kumpanya ay maaring magpatupad ng random drug testing or meron din silang option to require an employee to undergo additional drug testing for just cause in any of the following case. Kung may aksidenteng nangyari kasama ang near miss. So yan, pwedeng mag-undergo ng drug testing yung mga involved sa aksidente sa kumpanya or yung mga kung tawagin ay near miss. Pwede silang mag-undergo ng drug testing kaagad. para malaman kung maaaring magpatuloy sa pagtatrabaho ang empleyado galing sa treatment o rehab. Yan, isa yan sa mga kondisyon. At sa mga workers na nagpapakita rin ng biglaang pagbabago sa ugali, pangangatawan, at nakikita rin ng obvious signs and symptoms of drug abuse. So sila yung pwedeng mag-undergo kagad ng drug testing. Who shoulders the cost of drug test? Ang sabi sa batas, all costs of drug testing shall be borne by the employer. Refusal to undergo random drug testing, yan. Ito, isa ring touchy issue to, no? Dito maipakikita ang kahalagahan ng isang drug-free workplace policy sa isang kumpanya. At nakasaad dapat sa policy ang maaring consequence kung ang empleyado ay tumangging magpa-drug test. Ang pagtangging sumunod sa company policy ay katumbas na rin ng refusal to follow company rules and regulations. At maaari siyang kasuhan ng insubordination at eventually ay matanggal sa serbisyo. Okay, so next. Monitoring and evaluation. Ang monitoring and evaluation ay internal. So internal po ito sa mga companies at ito po ay part ng continuous improvement ng OSH program ng kanilang kumpanya. Hindi po ito reflective sa compliance sa DO 53-03. At sino po ba ang mga implementer of company policy on drug-free workplace? Siyempre, yan po yung Health and Safety Committee, Labor Management Council, Human Resource Department, Assessment Team, at pwede din outside contractor. The implementer of drug-free workplace policies and programs shall be monitored and evaluated periodically by the Health and Safety Committee para masigurado at maisakatuparan ang layunin ng drug-free workplace. So, ang representative from management and representative from workers can also perform a team to monitor the progress of their drug-free workplace policy. Human resource naman may take an active role in educating and training of their workers on drug abuse prevention and control. Pwede silang mag-conduct ng capability building program sa kanilang mga empleyado, peer counseling and values education para lalo pang ma-implement at ma-monitor ang kanilang drug-free workplace policy. Ang assessment team naman na mag-evaluate sa drug-free program policy ng company ay dapat trained para masigurado ang tuloy-tuloy na successful monitoring ng drug-free policy. At kung walang kakayahan ng kumpanya na bumuo ng OSH assessment team para ma-monitor ang kanilang drug-free workplace, pinapayagan sila ng batas na kumuha ng outside contractor na may kakayahan na ma-monitor ang kanilang programa. Okay. So next. Employee Assistance Program. Ang assessment team shall determine whether or not an officer or an employee found positive for drugs would need referral for treatment or rehabilitation in a DOH accredited center training for assessment personnel or being offered by our occupational safety and health center. So yan, yung training for assessment personnel ay ino-offer po ng aming occupational safety and health center. Yan. So, ano ba yung mga issues na kadalasan ay lumalabas sa first-time offenders? Dapat maliwanag sa drug-free workplace policy ng kumpanya ang nasasaad na hakbang para sa mga first-time offenders. So who should shoulder the cost of rehabilitation? So, sino ang sasagot sa gastusin ng pag-rehab sa nagpositibong empleyado? Yung ibang company na may kakayanan ay sinasagot nila or pwede silang part ng gastusin ay sasagutin nila. Availment of leave credits. Kung isang empleyado ay hindi na nga nakakapasok dahil siya ay nasa treatment or rehab, maaari munang ibawas ang leave credits na meron ang nasabing manggagawa. Kung ito ay naubos na, saka pa lang siya papatawan ng leave without pay. Ayan, so ibig sabihin, pag hindi na siya nakapasok at ubos na ang kanyang leave credits, saka pa lang siya magli-leave without pay. So pwede din naman kung merong favorable company policy ang isang kumpanya or kasama sa CBA na hindi na babawasan ng leave credits ang manggagawang nakarehab hanggang siya ay makabalik sa trabaho, makapasok muli. Kasama sa just cause ang pagtatanggal sa trabaho ng mga manggagawang second-time offenders or recidivists. Yan. Sa mga drug pushers naman, criminal act na po ito. Kaya Section 15 ng RA 9165 ang ipapataw sa kanila. Ibig sabihin, pag napatunayan, sila ay maaring makulong. Next. Ano po ba yung roles and responsibilities ng employer? Ang nabanggit po ay dissemination, written acknowledgement, and confidentiality. Ang employer daw shall ensure that the workplace policies and programs on the prevention and control of dangerous drugs, kasama na ang drug testing, shall be disseminated to all officers and employees. Kailangan din ng written acknowledgement from the employees that the policy has been read and understood by them. Siyempre, kailangan din ng proof of implementation. Hindi yung policy lang, kailangan may implementation. Lahat ng impormasyon patungkol sa resulta ng drug testing must be treated with utmost confidentiality. May exception lang tayong sinusunod kung ang resulta ay required by law in cases din sa public health and safety concerns at or such exceptions that have been authorized in writing by the person concerned. Okay? So labor unions and federations ay inaasahang na makiisa sa pagkakaroon ng active role sa edukasyon at training ng kanilang membro patungkol sa drug abuse prevention and control. Alam naman natin na hindi magiging matagumpay ang isang programa kung hindi informed through education at involved through training ang mga manggagawa. So with all of this, due process must be observed. So enforcement naman tayo, no? Article 128 of the Labor Code of the Philippines as amended. Labor Standards Enforcement Framework and Role of LGUs. Ito po yung Article 128 po ay yung authority given by the Secretary of DOLE to inspect private companies na dinelegate naman sa mga labor inspectors. Next, enforcement. Yan. Ito, yan. So, Article 128 of the Labor Code of the Philippines, ito po yung, ulitin ko, yung authority given to the Secretary of DOLE to inspect private companies na dinelegate naman sa mga inspectors. So, Labor Standards Enforcement Framework, dati kasi, nung sinulat ito, iba ang inspection process, kaya tinawag na Labor Standards Enforcement Framework. Pero na-supersede na po yan ngayon ng DO 53-03. Sa role naman ng LGU, sinasabi lang po dito na pinapayagan at nire-recognize ng batas ang pagkakaiba ng practice of enforcement with regard to the drug abuse ng iba't ibang ahensya ng gobyerno, provided hindi po ito lumilis sa napapaloob sa Article 5 of 9165. Okay? Next, penalties and violations. Yan. So maliwanag po, no, company policy and programs, violation of labor standards. Sabi lang po dito, syempre po, pag binisita po kayo ng aming mga labor inspectors at nakita na wala kayong drug-free workplace policy, ito po ay nangangahulugan na you are not compliant and in violation with labor standards. User or repeated user, ito po yung sila po ay napapailalim sa Article 282 of the Labor Code of the Philippines. Ito po yung just cause for termination. Since repeated user sila, which includes serious misconduct, willful disobedience, gross and habitual neglect of duties, and fraud or willful breach of trust. Para naman po sa mga pusher, Article 2 of RA 916 applies. Ito po ay isang criminal act na po. Next. And dito po tayo sa writing the company's drug-free workplace policy. So rule number 1, there is no hard and fast rule in writing the policy. Ibig sabihin po nito, yung format, walang officially prescribed format na dapat sundan ang mga companies. Although, meron naman tayong recommended na di-discuss natin mamaya. Rule number 2, the policy must be aligned with DO 53-03. Ang importante lang, the policy should be aligned with DOLE Issuance 53-03 at sa mga related laws. Kasi kung hindi siya naka-align, hindi siya valid. If there's a chance na ma-inspect ang company, malamang-lamang na hindi compliant ang magiging findings ng drug-free workplace policy na ginawa ng kumpanya. Next. Doon tayo po, proposed company policy and outline. Ano po ba ang ang under po niyan? Policy statement, definition of terms, implementing structure, preventive strategies, medical management, and referrals. Dito masasabi natin ng perspective ng nakakarami, including DOLE sa drug use, ay medical in nature. Kasi kailangan ng mga workers ang maayos na kalagayan para ma-maintain ang kanilang health through prevention, treatment, and rehabilitation. But then, kailangan din natin i-consider yung mga social policy. Kasi after the treatment, after the rehab, kailangan ma-incorporate at ma-integrate natin uli sila sa norms of society. Kaya mahalagang nakalagay sa policy yung non-discriminatory policy and practices, work accommodation, and flexible arrangements. Kasi gusto natin silang maibalik sa normal na pamumuhay. Okay? So malaki ang pagkakataon na kung hindi natin sila maibalik sa normal na society, ang tendency ay babalik sila sa paggamit ng droga. Dahil wala silang self-esteem at wala silang pagkakaabalahan. Hindi nila makita yung worth nila sa society. Okay, so next. Policy statement. Under policy statement, dapat may brief discussion of the company profile. Dito, ipinakikita ang pagpapakilala ng company sa kanilang business, organization, at masabi din very strongly ang kanilang commitment sa programang drug-free workplace. The policy statement must also indicate the importance of addressing drugs as a workplace hazard and the goal of intervention. Nakasaad din sa policy na kung paano mapipigil ng kumpanya ang problema ng droga sa kanilang workplace. Ang mga masasamang epekto nito at sa mga manggagawa at sa trabaho in general. At mga mabisang hakbang para mapigilan ang paggamit ng droga sa kanilang tanggapan. So indicate the degree of an employer's commitment to the health and safety of the workers. Sinasabi din dito kung gaano kahaba ang PC o lalim ng involvement ng kumpanya sa usapang pangkalusugan at kaligtasan ng kanilang manggagawa. Kung gaano kasagad ang commitment ng management sa nasabing programa. Ayan po sa company policy statement. Definition of terms. Such terminologies as assessment, team, random drug testing, etc. must be clearly defined. Pero optional lang po ito sa mga policies na gagawin natin. So this is optional kung meron lang mga hard to find words na hindi pamilyar sa nakakarami. For example, yung random drug testing. Ano ba yung definition ng random drug testing? Di ba sinasabi lang dito na hindi lahat, pero ang mga officers at lahat ng mga rank and file employees ay may equal chance na mapili to undergo random drug testing. So yan, i-define lang natin yung random drug testing. So next, implementing structure. Responsibility of all personnel in maintaining a drug-free workplace. Accountability of all levels of management for carrying out health and safety responsibilities. Importance of consultation and cooperation between management and employees. Commitment to regular reviews of the policy and to monitor effectiveness. And commitment to provide adequate funds and details of how money will be available. So, ang sinasabi po dito, emphasis on drug-free workplace program ay hindi lang sa employer, kundi kasama lahat ng personnel. Kasama dyan yung Safety and Health Committee, Assessment Team, Employees Union, and organizations. Yung accountability din nila kung paano na-implement yung drug-free workplace program. Kasama na dyan yung monitoring, consultation, cooperation. Importante yan para maging harmonious yung implementation, regular review of policy, and of course, dapat may strong management commitment through funding. Kasi it comes with a cost. Pag nag-implement ng isang company drug-free workplace policy, it is a must na may random drug testing. At pag may random drug testing, it comes with a cost. So dapat popondohan yan. As to the percentage naman, bahala na ang management mag-determine base doon sa resources na meron ang company. Okay, so next. Preventive strategies na tayo, So list down the different preventive activities of the company, particularly each Health and Safety Committee or OH personnel in averting this problem. In-encourage din natin ito na gawin sa mga kumpanya, particularly their Health and Safety Committee or Occupational Health personnel para mamulat or magising ang kanilang mga workers sa masamang resulta sa paggamit ng illegal na droga. Ma-improve ang awareness nila sa masamang epekto ng paggamit nito. Maaaring ito ay through the promotion of healthy and drug-free workplace practice, education and training. Siyempre, pag alam at aware ang mga workers patungkol sa mga masamang idudulot ng paggamit ng droga or even sa pagsubok lamang ng illegal na droga, hindi na sila gagamit nito. Yan. So, mahalaga din yung advocacy, education, and training na nabanggit natin kanina. Medical management and referrals. It outlines the management of positive workers in its screening, counseling, and referral, and in monitoring the progress of response to treatment. Dapat may identified na tayong sites na pagre-referan ng mga person who uses drugs na workers. Of course, sa assessment team, malaman lang nila kapag low risk, pwedeng sa community-based drug facility or sa community mismo. Baka meron silang kakayahan na gawin ang general intervention, yung kanilang affected worker. Pero kung wala, baka pwede doon sa community na nagpo-provide ng outpatient Kung medium and high risk naman, pwede lang i-refer yan sa physician accredited ng DOH, Department of Health, para ma-determine kung kailangan ba talaga ng live-in na facility or outpatient na lang ang nasabing worker. So next, sa social policy tayo, non-discriminatory policy and practices. Kailangan ma-establish yung non-discrimination na hindi dapat biglang tanggalin sa trabaho ang worker who has been found out na nag-positive sa drug test. Hindi ito pinapayagan ng batas, kinakailangan nila ng second chance. Kailangan nila ng utmost assistance para ma-rehabilitate sila or makaiwas sila sa paggamit ng ipinagbabawal na gamot. Work accommodation and arrangement naman, siyempre may mga pagkakataon na kailangan ng follow-up check-up doon sa facility or pag outpatient naman, ipapatawag yung worker sa community at kailangan niya mag-report doon. Napakahalaga na mabigyan ng work accommodation in special work arrangement ang nasabing worker. Access to government assistance. Maraming tulong ang pwedeng i-provide, lalo na kung nasa live-in, rehab, drug facility ang affected worker. So yung family ay pwedeng tulungan ng DSWD through yung mga food baskets, no? Pwede rin naman bigyan ang pamilya ng livelihood assistance ng DOLE. So meron tayong binibigay na livelihood assistance para sa pamilya ng affected workers, no? Para to keep them afloat habang walang kita, yung kanilang affected members of the family, especially kung yun ay yung tatay or nanay ng pamilya. Next. Roles and responsibilities naman ng employers and employees. So enumerate or list down the different duties and responsibilities of management and workers. Well, dito, mahalagang i-define lang natin yung mga role ng employers and employees para ma-assure lang natin yung participation, ownership of the program. Siyempre, kasama na ang accountability. Yan. This ensures participation, ownership of the program, and accountability. Implementation naman and monitoring. Identify the responsible personnel, organization within the office who is accountable for the performance of a specific function mentioned in the program. So sila yung mga nabanggit kanina na may mga mahalagang gagampanan at may partikular na functions and roles sa programang drug-free workplace ng kumpanya. Kabilang dito ang Health and Safety Committee, Labor Management Council, Human Resource Department, and Assessment Team. Sa mga companies na walang kakayahan na magbuo ng team for the implementation and monitoring of their drug-free workplace program and policy, pwede silang mag-hire ng outside contractor na may kaalaman sa nabanggit na programa. So, effectivity and signature, ano? The drug-free workplace policy should be dated and signed by the senior executive of the company or establishment. At syempre, dapat may basbas at pirma ng highest official of the company para makilala yung strength of implementation ng drug-free workplace policy and programs ng kumpanya. Kasi kung pirma lang yan ng safety officer, hindi yan kikilalanin ng ibang workers. Dapat may full support ang top management para maging legitimate ang programa. So yan po ang ano natin, yan po ang that's about the size of my lecture, no? Yan, sabi natin, say no to drugs. At sana po ay may natutunan tayo doon sa ating topic ngayon na drug-free workplace under 53-03.
Okay, thank you, Nurse Arnel, for that very informative and comprehensive discussion. Ayan. So while preparing doon po sa mga pagpa-flash po na sa screen ng ating pong mga questionnaires, no? Mga 8 questions na kaming na-receive po sa FB. Ayan. So galing po ito sa close to 200 na audience po natin ngayon. Maraming salamat po sa mga loyal na viewers po natin. Ano po? So bago po yung sa question and answer po, no, allow me first, no, na pagpahingahin ng ating speaker at of course to give my take doon sa yung naintindihan ko, no, yung what I can deduce doon sa presentation ni Nurse Arnel kanina. Number 1 po, of course, yung yung Republic Act 9165. Ayan, take note yan, 9165 is our legal basis for implementing a drug-free workplace program for the private sector. Of course, number 2, of course, nandun yung availability of health services for treatment, rehabilitation, and of course, yung mental health support para sa ating mga PWOODs, no? So, kailangan lang nating i-access, naka-mainstream naman po yung mga services na ito sa atin pong mga public health facilities. Ayan. So, number 3 po, okay, the policy must be aligned with Department Order 53-03. Ayan. And number 4, ayan. So, it is politically incorrect, narinig ko kasi si Nurse Arnel kanina, PWOODs, person who uses drugs, yun na po yung ginagamit po ngayon, it is politically incorrect na gamitin yung word na yung addict po, of course, kasi YT Woods, person who uses drugs, nabanggit kanina, di ba? Iba-ibang level ng gamit, may experimental, may occasional, at nandoon po yung mga high risk. Yun na siguro yung masasabi nating highly addicted po talaga na hindi kayang on their own na ihinto yon na walang tawag dito withdrawal symptoms. At of course, yung pinaka-importante po natin, okay? Yung drug-free workplace program po, is implementing it, is beyond compliance. Ang natin dito, of course, yung kasi yung DO 53-03, it is replete with provisions on observance of rights, ng workers at of course ng employer. Okay, incidentally, maganda po na na-discuss po ni Nurse Arnel yung paggawa ng policy. Pero to make your lives easier, i-share ko lang, meron po tayong template din naman yan sa BWC website, Pero siyempre, kailangan i-adjust pa rin natin yon, i-tweak natin somehow doon sa natin, sa organization ng atin pong different workplaces. Ayan, so naka-ready na po yung atin pong mga tanong, Sir Arnel, Nurse Arnel, okay? So, basahin ko na po yung mga questions po. Una po, what is for just cause? Yan, nabanggit kasi mo kanina, sir, yung just cause. Are companies required to implement for cause drug testing?
Yan. The law requires only random drug testing. However, it is an option for companies to implement testing for justified causes. Okay. Ay, sorry, nakamute ako, So, the law requires only random drug testing. However, it is an option for companies to implement testing for justified causes such as part ng accident investigation, testing to follow up workers who had undergone treatment and rehabilitation, and those workers who manifest signs and symptoms of drug abuse.
Okay, so thank you, Sir Arnel. Ang important. Okay. Thank you, Nurse Arnel. Ang importante po kasi doon dapat nakasulat siya talaga sir sa policy itong mga just cause na ito, para para malinaw po sa kaalaman po ng lahat. Ayan. So number 2, ito po yung tanong. A company already has its own drug abuse policy, but it is not in accordance with the order. The company terminates all those found to be positive for drug use the first time. Is the company required to revise its policy?
The department order emanates from the Republic Act 9165. Any ordinances, orders, and company policies that are not in consonance with the law would need to be revised.
Okay, so very clear ano po, yung Okay, very clear po, no? Sinabi po ni Nurse Abnel ano, na kailangan pong i-revise po yung policy kapag hindi po na naka-align ano doon sa ano po sa 9165. So yung one strike policy hindi po siya allowed ano kasi paulit-ulit sinasabi ni Nurse Arnel kanina yung importance na ibalik sila sa norms ng society. Yan, para maging productive pa rin po sila, maging ano pa rin sila no, effective na member ng society. Yan. So kailangan nating i-revise kung meron po tayong mga ganitong policy na one strike, okay? So lagi namang ano sa lahat naman ano, lagi may second chance, no? Hindi lang sa pag-ibig, no? Kundi sa lahat po ng pagkakataon na pwede naman nating okay, bigyan ng pagkakataon yung mga gustong magbago. Yeah. Thank you po. Okay. Okay, ang tanong po dito, okay? How will confidentiality be assured within a company? Yan, nabanggit kasi ni Nurse Arnel kanina, no, yung importance nung confidentiality. Kasi itong ano po, no, drug use, ang perspective po natin diyan eh medical siya, no? Pagka ano ka nga sa facility, naka-medical leave ka eh. Sa medical condition, na kailangan ng gamot. At katulad nga nung nasa batas, yung ano no, yung about sa yung confidentiality, sinasabi doon na yung medical condition hindi dapat no na divulge no kung walang tawag doon, walang consent nung pasyente. So paano ba natin to ini-ensure, Nurse Arnel?
Sagutan dyan, confidentiality of drug test results and treatment and rehabilitation should be maintained on a need-to-know basis. The information should only be confined to authorized persons such as the assessment team or as stated in the policy. The company policy should include sanctions for any intentional violation of confidentiality of records.
Yun, thank you, Nurse Arnel, no? So, yung ano po yan Data Privacy Act, ano, na meron doon mga provision na pwede kang ma-penalize, ano, for unauthorized, no, na pag-divulge ng information. So, ilimit lang natin sa mga authorized person doon sa company ang may access sa information ng result o ng kung nagre-rehab man yung yung team worker no kay outpatient yan or in-house no na facility. Okay, so next question po, number 4. Ang sabi po dito, if a worker is referred for rehabilitation, is she entitled to leave benefits? Yan. So na-discuss na rin to ni Sir Arnel kanina pero siguro maganda ma-reiterate po natin baka yung tanong kasi binato sa atin ng hindi pa nadadaanan yung yung discussion kanina. Ulitin na lang natin sir yung paliwanag mo kanina.
Yun nga Ang sagot dito, sabi ang tanong niyan, if a worker is referred for rehabilitation, is she entitled to leave benefits? The grant of leave benefits will depend on the agreement between employers and workers.
Yun, no? So, depende po sa agreement. So, general rule kasi, no, nabanggit kanina ni Sir, no, ni Nurse Arnel, na utilize mo na yung leave credits na available kung meron. And then, once na utilize siya, doon papasok po yung leave without pay na. No? So, anong consequence po noon? Siyempre, yung mga social benefits, SSS, Pag-ibig, PhilHealth, tigil muna yon unless no nabanggit kanina to sa discussion, take note ako nila, unless there is a favorable company policy, no? So meron akong sa paglilibot namin no, ni Sir Arnel sa mga companies, no, while we are doing the rounds ng mga pagbibigay ng occupational health programs na lecture, meron akong company na na-encounter na they do provide yung ano no, payment no ng salary kahit po naka-rehab yung pasyente, no? So napakagandang practice po niyan, ano? And si Dole, wala na kami objection doon, ano? Kasi pabor sa worker. Pero let me clear this, ano, na we cannot compel yung mga companies na mag-provide po noon. So ano na lang po 'yon, negotiations, collective bargaining agreement, or yung out of yung good company practice, best practice ng company na mag-provide pa rin sila ng salary, ng benefits kahit po naka medical leave because of yung sa rehabilitation ang atin pong mga PWOODs. Ayan. Thank you po. 5, sir. Ang sabi dito, could companies require job applicants to undergo mandatory drug testing as part of their requirements? Who will shoulder the expense? Ayan. So aplikante, nag-a-apply sa trabaho, kailangan na ba may drug test, at sino po yung magbabayad nung test?
So kasagutan po dyan, it is the company's prerogative to require job applicants to undergo drug testing. However, it is encouraged that the companies require only shortlisted candidates to lessen the financial burden on the applicants.
So yun, no? So sinasabi po doon na general rule si applicant ang mag-shoulder po, no? Pero wag naman nating lahat ng aplikante, hindi pa tayo nag-shortlist, no? Pinapag-test na agad natin, no? Mabigat din po sa bulsa yan, ano? So sabi nga ni Nurse Arnel, yung shortlisted lang ang atin pong i-undergo ng test. Ayan. So sir, number 6, lapit na tayo. Sabi dito, what if a worker officer refuses to undergo random drug testing? What sanctions can be imposed on the worker or the officer? Ayan. So ayaw mag-undergo ng drug testing. Anong gagawin natin sa kanya?
So kagaya po nung nabanggit kanina, no? Refusal to undergo drug testing is tantamount to refusal to follow company rules and regulations. The worker may be charged with insubordination and be dealt with other pertinent policies of the company.
Okay, no? So very clear po, kailangan nakasulat siya, no? Sa company policy natin, no? Para hindi siya subject, no, sa protest, no? Kasi nabanggit kanina ni Sir Arnel, no? May nabanggit doon sa presentation yung human rights, no? Invasion of one's privacy. Pero yun nga, the Supreme Court has long decided on that, ano? Na natatapos yung karapatan mo kung naapakan mo yung karapatan ng higit na nakararami. Ayan. So sabi nga, no, hindi ka naman hindi ka matanggal, no, sa pag-refuse, pero matanggal ka because of yung refusal sa paggamit ng sa refusal rather, no, sa pag-undergo ng random drug testing. Ayan. So, ang dami kong natututunan kay sir. Okay, number 7. Who will shoulder the rehabilitation and treatment of first-time offenders? Ayan. Sino ba yung magbabayad niyan, sir? Company ba yan o si worker?
So ito, no, the treatment and rehabilitation expenses will depend on the agreement between the management and the workers. Yan po.
Okay. So, ano po, no? General rule, of course, no, hindi naman sinasabi na ang mag-shoulder niyan si company, si employer. Pero okay, sabi nga ni sir, no, depende sa agreement. Ano po? Kasi kung walang hindi nakasulat gray area sa sa batas, ang ibig sabihin niyan, of course, hindi namin ma-compel si employer. So general rule si worker ang mag-shoulder niyan, at kung if ever i-shoulder man niya, that is part ng ano niya, best practice and part ng ano niya, ng favorable company policy. Pero ang advice ko lang ano, medyo may kamahalan po ito. Nanggaling kami ni Sir Arnel nun sa ano, sa isang training sa webinar yan. Training talaga, 1 week on ano sa SBIRT, ayan, sa ginhawa, yan na ano yan. Magandang training po siya no, sa screening niya ng mga ano, mga users, no. So, ang sabi po doon, napakamahal ng ano kung sa private ka magpa-rehab, 80,000 a month. Sa ano sa government, it comes with a cost. May ano pa rin naman, may bayad pa rin naman yan, ano? Mga 8,000 ata gagastusin mo sa isang buwan. But then, ayan, ito, ang maganda, no? Ang good news, pwede naman po nating ano yan, ang mga local government units, meron po silang mga social services na po pwedeng ano, mapakiusapan na mabigyan ng diskwento or sabihin nating ma-waive yung ano, yung bayad. May mga local government units na ano na very aggressive o very supportive, no, doon sa kampanya nila laban sa droga. Ayan. So with that, ayan, again, we would like to thank our resource person this afternoon. Ayan. So si Nurse Arnel Angeles de Mesa, yan, para sa napakagandang discussion. Sir, any last words po?
Well, again, papasalamat po ako at nagpapasalamat po ako at naibahagi ko po yung aking kaalaman ukol sa drug-free workplace policy. At nagpapasalamat din po lalo kami dito na sa mga sumusubaybay dito sa aming, yung regular na mga sumusubaybay dito sa aming webinar Wednesday. So yun lang po. Maraming salamat sa inyo.
Okay, thank you Nurse Arnel. At thank you rin po sa atin pong mga fellow participants na sugid na nagsusubaybay sa Wednesday webinars, no? Sa webinar Wednesdays, no, rather. So we would like to invite you next week on our webinar Wednesday with the topic brain health in the workplace. Ayan. So hindi po ito yung mental health na na-discuss previously, no? Brain health, ayan, ito yung mga aneurysm, mga cerebrovascular accident, ano, na ano paano ba natin maiwasan, ano, na magkaroon ng mga atake na katulad niyan, at if ever, no, ano yung pwede nating gawin na paunang lunas, meron tayong mga kasamahan sa trabaho na maka-experience po nito, no? So inaasahan po namin kayo na magkita-kita po ulit tayo sa susunod na Wednesday po, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, ano? Sakto po 'yan kasi kanina nagsimula kaming kakaunti, no? Pero nung nag-aano na, dumadami na po yung mga participants po natin, ano? So 2 o'clock po, no? Before 2, mag-ano na po tayo, mag-login na po tayo sa FB Live para masimulan po natin yung presentation. Muli, magandang hapon po ulit sa atin pong lahat at naway ano po, no, maging productive po ang natitirang araw ng ating linggo sa paggawa. Okay? Thank you po at magandang hapon sa atin pong lahat.
Para sa katanungan at karagdagang impormasyon, maaari po tayong tumawag sa DOLE Hotline 1349 o sumangguni sa mga DOLE Regional o Field Office na nakakasakop sa inyong lugar paggawa.